Well, I guess it has been a while since I've done an episode of this. Holy yikes! Yeah. See, the thing is, sometimes you just need some time apart from those you care about, and then life can get in the way, and then you all of a sudden have to start shopping for gutter covers, and then you need to buy a new fence. So I'd like to welcome you all back to the Paraspective, just, 2 years later. If you can even remember, we last left off in August of 2003 with a sequel to Pokémon Pinball, this time with that Gen 3 Hoenn flair to it of Pokémon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. It was a decent side pinball game that helped to continue on what the Game Boy Advance started with Ruby and Sapphire. So now we're going a little over 3 months into the future to December of 2003. That's right, it's time for another Pokémon Holiday Classic. And it's also time to kick off Pokémon on this brand new Nintendo home console, the GameCube. The new system that was already out for 2 years in North America at this point. Oh. Yeah, it's honestly pretty surprising to me that Pokémon went this long without any GameCube release. The madness of Pokémon may have been over by this point, but I mean, it's Pokémon. It's going to bring in money anyway, right? So let's do a quick rundown of the rest of the franchise during this time, because I do feel like it's important to set you back in that time period. In regards to the anime, Season 5's Master Quest concluded and Season 6 began in North America in November of 2003, called Pokémon Advanced, as it followed Ash and the gang exploring and collecting Hoenn gym badges. So Gen 3 was in full swing here. Movie-wise, things were still in a transition period here, as Pokémon Heroes was the last movie to get a theatrical release, at least for a little while. The sixth film, Jirachi Wishmaker, was out in Japan at this point, but it wouldn't find its way to North America until mid-2004, so we're not there yet. The trading card game, of course, never went away, so there were actually 2 more sets released between the last episode and now, the 18th and 19th sets, EX Sandstorm and EX Dragon, in September and November of 2003 respectively. EX Sandstorm focused more on desert Pokemon and bringing back the fossil mechanic from the original Fossil set. EX Dragon introduced some Dragon-type Hoenn Pokemon like Salamence, Flygon, and Altaria. These concluded the EX Ruby and Sapphire block too. But now back to video games. As I said, the GameCube had already been out since late 2001, so this next new game was what brought Pokemon to the system, and this one had already been out in Japan since July of 2003. In Japan, it was known as Pokémon Channel Together with Pikachu, developed by Umbrella, returning from Hey You Pikachu. That's right, Pokémon Channel Together with Pikachu was developed as a sequel to Hey You Pikachu, the pet simulator game for the Nintendo 64 that we looked at in episode 9, which had the barely functional microphone meant for talking to your pet Pikachu.
I woke up earlier than you, this is probably a bad sign. Dude.
Pikachu.
Yes, even that game got a sequel here. So, on December 1st, 2003, for the upcoming holiday season, North America saw the release of Pokémon Channel Together with Pikachu, now just known as Pokémon Channel. I have never played this game, I have never heard of this game until researching this, so per tradition, let's check out the game case, as I will literally be seeing this for the first time here. So let's pretend it's the beginning of December in 2003. The number 1 song that week? Stand Up by Ludacris featuring Shauna. So we get a nice grassy landscape in the background with a TV in the middle that is apparently without a broadcast, as it has the colored line bars behind the shape of a Pokeball in the middle. Well, that's not bringing me a bunch of confidence if not even the TV in the game is working properly. On the left side is a waving Pikachu, and on the right are the 3 Hoenn starters, Torchic, Trico, and Mudkip, all looking quite good graphically. And on the bottom it says, includes 3 Pokemon Channel e-reader cards. Huh, that's interesting. The e-reader is what plugs into the back of a Game Boy Advance that you can scan to do a handful of different things like add stuff to a game you're playing, or even be games themselves. I know the GameCube also had connectivity to the Game Boy Advance, so this game was yet another attempt at making the e-reader relevant. And of course, it is rated E for everyone and only for the Nintendo GameCube. Sorry M-rated PS2 fans, Pokémon Channel may not be for you. The back of the case states, Professor Oak needs your help. Oh no. Pokémon Channel is a TV broadcasting network that airs a variety of Pokémon programs, and Professor Oak selected you as the initial test audience. Okay, so my purpose in this game is to sit in a white room while people analyze me through a one-sided mirror? With the help of Pikachu and other Pokemon, all those other stupid Pokemon, you can make Pokémon Channel the highest rated channel on your TV. Wait, that's it? Increase ratings for a TV station? I gotta be honest, this is a hard sell. Let's see what we get for the pictures then. The top left picture is for PNF, or Pokemon Newsflash, as it shows Meowth's on-the-scene interview, apparently with a Psyduck, as the time 9:34 is either a countdown or a number going up or the time of day or something. And at the bottom it says, "Watch Psyduck deliver the news while Meowth reports on location. Pay close attention for hints on where to meet Pokemon." Oh no, this game is meant for small children, isn't it? Picture 2 says, "Pichu Bros in Party Panic, exclusively for Pokemon Channel, featuring an all-new animation," as we get our first look at the Pichu Bros. I'm guessing this is just a short cartoon that you watch and do nothing else. I'm sure that hijinks will ensue to the max though. Picture 3 is the Smeargle Art Study, which appears to be a coloring book featuring a colored-in Psyduck again. I wonder if it's the same PNF Psyduck. Next to a Sunflora, Delibird, Magneton, and Xatu. At the bottom it says, "Paint your favorite scenes and have them evaluated by Smeargle." Alright, I mean, I used to love Mario Paint, and that game had a coloring book, so there's that. Picture 4 is the Shoppin' Squirtle with that sunglasses wearing Squirtle mofo himself, as it says, "It's time for Shoppin' Squirtle." Yes, it certainly is. The bottom says, "Use purchase points to buy items for your room and make it more Pikachu friendly." Oh, so now I'm supposed to impress a Pikachu? I thought I was the test subject for some weird TV station run by Professor Oak. Is Shoppin' Squirtle like the QVC network for the Pokemon universe? I also used to watch that as a kid, fun fact. Picture 5 looks a lot like the front cover with some windmills, a Pikachu, Torchic, Trico, and Mudkip. It says, "Play with Pikachu outside and meet many different Pokemon." I'm assuming this might be like the Hey You Pikachu channel here, which is what I thought this game was going to be based on the developer. And finally, picture 6 says, "Pokemon Mini," and has Game Boy looking graphics of a Snorlax ordering from a Subway. Okay, good, and great are the options. And under that it says, "Play a virtual version of Pokemon Mini and select from a variety of minigame titles." Well, this easily sounds like the best part of the game. Like with both Stadium games, this is once again riding that Mario Party minigame high. Mario Party 5 was out by this point. That's a fun one. And the very last thing to look at is the important info at the top. Pokemon Channel is one player, uses 22 memory card blocks, is compatible with the e-reader and Game Boy Advance. So I know I'm ultra curious as to what this game is. I'm not expecting much. Like at all. Maybe some of the minigames will be fun though. Let's see what this even is, and full disclosure, I'll be showing gameplay from Long Play Archive here.
This show is brought to you by these sponsors here.
So we open with a gaggle of 4 Magnemite carrying a TV through a windmill valley as a Pikachu, Torchic, Mudkip, and Trico follow them as they deliver it to your house, located in Springleaf Field, which is part of a place called Mint-Ale Town. Or is it 1 Magnemite and 1 Magneton? Then Professor Oak on the TV starts telling you what this TV does. As the back of the case stated, you have been chosen to be the test audience for these Pokemon channels. So your first task is to literally just sit there and watch an episode of the anime called Pichu Bros in Party Panic. So I was absolutely right about what this was. You just watch it. But what is kind of cool is that these parts were exclusive to this game and feature a lot of the same voice actors. Whether you like these shorts or not is another thing. Basically, part 1 follows two Pichu brothers living their lives. A random Smoochum notices a bunch of Pokemon carrying invitations shaped like a crescent moon, so she notifies the Pichu Bros and investigations ensue. There are a bunch of Pokemon shown here like Teddiursa, Magby, Smeargle, etc., and the whole series is eventually shown in 5 parts throughout the game. After sitting through whatever that was, Professor Oak tells you to report it, which is saving your game, and then he tells you to look around your room. You notice the 4 from the opening looking at you from outside. Torchic, Mudkip, and Trico flee when you open the sliding glass door, but Pikachu joins you on your TV exploration, bringing back some Hey You Pikachu vibes. Then you just kinda check out what each of the channels are. And yes, this is most certainly, absolutely, definitely for small children. Checking out PNF, or Pokemon Newsflash, you watch a news anchor Psyduck giving a report on random things Pokemon are doing in random places, while it cuts to Team Rocket's Meowth reporting on the scene. So you sit there and listen to this on repeat as you start to question so many things about how you got to this point in your life. Eventually, more and more shows start appearing, and the more you watch, the more Pikachu likes them as well. The game is played in real time and is meant to be completed in about a week of real time. I feel like they were trying to cash in on the hype of Animal Crossing here with the relaxing vibes and playing through it in real time to unlock different things. But that's about where the similarities stop there. Animal Crossing, this is not. Shop and Squirtle is in fact a shopping channel along lines of QVC, where Squirtle from the Squirtle Squad helps to teach small children to use their parents' credit card to order things from the show. Your first task is to order a nice card binder to be instantly delivered to you by a delibird, showing just how easy it is to buy things online or on TV. The nice card binder comes with some nice cards that you'll want to collect over time, which are just cards of random Pokemon of different rarities. Sounds familiar. There are 110 different Pokemon to collect here. As far as the other shows go, there's also Quiz Wobbuffet, where you can try to identify Pokemon from their silhouettes or whatever, basically the game show channel. There's at least something here to test your Pokemon knowledge though. Smoochum Shape Up is a Smoochum exercise program which is equal parts whimsical and creepy. Slowpoke's weather report is just how it sounds. A Slowpoke walks by a signpost that shows the weather. Examination Hatch Up Poke-Egg is, get this, you guess what Pokemon is in the egg and then it tells you how much time is left until it hatches. So you can sit here for 5 minutes, for example, while random facts slide across the top of the screen. You get to watch an egg hatch in real time. Mareep Farm is where you watch a bunch of Mareep jump over a fence while it keeps count, which I guess is meant to be relaxing. I have personally dealt with insomnia for over 4 years now, so maybe watching some Mareep Farm before bed is what I've been missing all along. Also at one point, you can color in a picture along the lines of Mario Paint, and if you choose to watch Smeargle's art study, a Smeargle will rate the coloring skills of your pictures. Chum Chum Ranking is yet another Smoochum channel where you get to see the popularity ranking of different Pokemon. This might be the strangest one of all of them. I mean, what? Chansey's Fortune Cookie is, well, where you can open a fortune cookie for some well-needed advice. And finally, Odd One Out is where a handful of oddish slowly enter a ring, and you have a small time frame to guess if there will eventually be an odd or even number of them by the end. It's basically random and even further illustrates just how young of an audience this is meant for. You are learning odd and even numbers here. And those are the channels. What a strange idea this whole game is. One last thing you can find in the game is yet another real-life subtle advertisement for something called a Pokemon Mini. The Pokemon Mini was a tiny handheld device you could buy in late 2001 that was almost like a small Tamagotchi-sized device with an LCD screen that you can play some minigames on. These came in Chikorita Green, Wooper Blue, or Smoochum Purple. Again with the Smoochum. Were they really trying to make Smoochum a thing back then? But anyways, there is a virtual Pokemon Mini you can obtain in this game, which does feature some minigames, including the Pokemon Channel exclusive of Snorlax's Lunchtime, which was featured on the back of the game case. In Snorlax's Lunchtime, images of food appear in front of Snorlax, and you have a small time frame to press a button to feed it to him, by making sure you don't accidentally feed him a Pichu. That's horrible. But that's also the entire game. Build up a high score and don't accidentally feed him a baby. There are also some minigames on this that are emulated from the real minis, like Slow King's Judge, where you call shots of a tennis game, which is so weird, and also Chansey's Dribble, where you kick a ball to a finish line. There's also Pokemon Pinball Mini. I did not think I would be revisiting Pokemon Pinball at all, as well as Pokemon Puzzle Collection Mini. Wow, all of my old friends are here. The Japanese version has even more minigames to play too that for some reason were made exclusive to that version. But when you aren't watching the different shows on TV, then the rest of the game is much more like Hey You Pikachu. Instead of talking into a microphone, you basically move and point a cursor to where you want Pikachu to go, and then it'll interact with whatever it is. It's definitely more functional than the wonky microphone and much easier to control here. You can actually go out and explore the region of Mintail Town here, where you can discover different Pokemon, have Pikachu talk to them, and obtain more currency or nice cards. I would say about half of the game is having Pikachu interact with stuff, and the other half is watching TV. Even though a lot of the game is spent doing this, there isn't a whole lot to say about it. It's very similar to Hey You Pikachu, but I wanted to focus more on the channels here since the game is called Pokémon Channel. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of Pokémon Channel. It is most certainly a game meant for small children, maybe even more so than Hey You Pikachu. Although I remember in that game you have to identify an apple, so maybe not. It's almost pointless to even say what my thoughts on this game are. I mean, you can spend time watching Mareep jump over a fence if you want. If you want to play another virtual pet game with Pikachu that has no stress to it whatsoever, then I guess check this out. But really, if you have a child under the age of 6 and they love Pokemon, then I mean, this is a pretty harmless time waster. You get to see some Pokemon and GameCube graphics at the very least. The cynical part of me, though, thinks that this game is also encouraging children to watch TV all day, teaches them the art of buying things from home shopping networks, and is subliminally getting them to go out and have their parents get more Pokemon cards, Pokemon minis, and Pokemon merchandise to help give this franchise even more money. Gotta catch 'em all indeed. I'm mostly joking there, but to fully experience everything in this game, you will need to also get an e-reader and Game Boy Advance. The game even comes with some e-reader cards to get you to go out and buy an e-reader. These cards are just some extra coloring book pages for Smeargle to rate though, so it's absolutely not worth it just for that. But even after all that, there is a reason to obtain and beat this game that can directly affect your mainline Pokemon playthroughs. Well, kinda. For some reason, only in the European and Australian versions, after you finish watching all of Pichu Bros and Party Panic, you can obtain a mythical Jirachi for your Ruby and Sapphire games. Wow, that's awesome. Yet probably the sole reason actual mainline Pokemon fans would ever want to play this game, and you can't get one in the North American and Japanese versions. Oh, this game. However, the European and Australian versions didn't come out until 2004, so this was probably a late addition to the game to maybe coincide with the release of the Jirachi movie. Still, that really sucks. So basically, no, I am nowhere near the target demographic for this game, but I could also tell this from looking at the game case too. By the time this came out in December of 2003, I was a senior in high school, getting ready to graduate in 5 months. I no longer cared about anything Pokemon related. I didn't play any of the games anymore, I didn't collect the cards or watch any of the anime, nothing. This game was so far removed from where I was in life, and I don't even remember seeing it in game stores or in Blockbuster or whatever. I didn't even know of its existence until this retrospective. So for my history with it, there was absolutely none. But it's time to bring back a fan favorite segment here of
Where's That Parasect?
I say fan favorite because it's me, I'm that fan. But let's find out if Parasect is found in Pokémon Channel. No, of course not, and I'm actually okay with this. Maybe we can keep the possessed zombie crab out of this game meant for 5-year-olds. It's also not a surprise anyway. We'll just have to wait and see when spores can cover the land once more. Sales-wise, this definitely was not a big seller with a little over 300,000 copies sold. That is peanuts in terms of Pokemon games and certainly nowhere near a top-selling GameCube game. The reception for it also ranged from pretty terrible to just meh. A lot of reviews stated that this game is simply pretty boring and only for die-hard fans or small children. The music and sound is not great, the repetition shows up real quick, and even the graphics are pretty tame to show off the GameCube's capabilities. The one positive the game got is that there are a decent number of collectibles to obtain that could be fun, like with all of the nice cards. But really, that's about it. Along with Hey You Pikachu, this is a bit of a low point for the series. You know, unless you're in Mrs. Castiglione's kindergarten class and you have to stay after school to learn about one of the letters of the alphabet because you had that stupid dentist appointment to go to. But that certainly wasn't me, I was a senior in high school then. But next time, we're going all out with an actual game in only about 4 months after Pokémon Channel to March of 2004. Enough of this kids stuff, it's time to bring back hardcore 3D battling, baby, now in full swing on the GameCube. This is kind of a big one too, and to be honest, I've never played it before in my life. It will absolutely be a debut for me. Paraspectre will return for Pokémon Colosseum.